Friends, fans, and fine folk, grab your drinks and snacks and come on down to Robert Reed's Choose Your Own Adventure. Hello YouTube, this is Robert Reed's, a stream over on Twitch where I read a book. We have chosen from 3 different Choose Your Own Adventure books today. My Twitch chat decided between these and decided on The Dragon's Den, a book that is older than I am. This book is 40 years old. It was published in the United States, sold in New Zealand, somehow made its way through its life to England, where my deputy Fancy picked it up and posted it back to me to read on stream. So it's had quite the journey, this book. And we'll see what it's about. It's basically like an old-fashioned, typical treasure hunting, dragon slaying quest. Where the Twitch chat today will be helping me to choose which direction we go whenever we have a choice to make. So if you like this sort of stream but you want to be involved in one in the future, make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/RobertHartleyGM. On with the book. Warning! Do not read this book straight through from beginning to end. These pages contain many adventures you can have while searching for the treasure of the Dragon's Den. From time to time, as you read along, you'll be asked to make a choice. Your choice may lead to success or disaster, etc., etc. We know how this works. Starting off with a nice picture of 3 dudes enjoying themselves in a bar. Section 1. It is long ago. You are in the time of knights and castles and dragons. You are a wanderer, travelling from one small medieval kingdom to another. At this moment you're in search of an adventure that will test all of your abilities and perhaps lead you to your fortune. You're travelling through a small kingdom when you see scorched trees, burned fields, and deserted houses. The remaining local people are too terrified even to talk about what's happened, particularly with a stranger. But you know there could only be one cause of this destruction. Arsonists. Or dragons. Dragons, probably. Dragons! You also know that dragons are notorious thieves who hoard the treasure they steal. Here's your chance for some real excitement. Turn to page 2. So I tend to just read it like a normal book now. Holy cow, I'm like 11 years old again and borrowed some of these from the library. Yeah. Acid-breathing frogs. Page 2. That evening, while dining at a small inn... Where are you at the small inn? Everything was destroyed. Maybe you moved past that town and into another town where they had an inn. While dining at a small inn, you chance to overhear 2 people talking at a nearby table. Treasure is being discussed, and a map is being examined. You slip quietly from your seat and move into an empty chair at their table. Taken by surprise, they look at you suspiciously. Now, about this treasure, you say in a low voice. Surely you need an experienced hand to help you find it. The 2 conspirators stand up and are about to bolt for the door, but you hold your hand up and they sit down again. Now, let's have a look at that map, you say with a grin.
Map? What map?
One of them says.
Boke, have you seen any maps?
No, the other replies. He is a small thin boy about your age. I don't know anything about... The one you have tucked up into the top of your boot, you interrupt.
Are you a king's agent?
I've given these guys the wrong voice entirely. The thin one has got the deep voice, and then the guy who is now described as asks the heavier one.
He's got this squeaky tiny voice.
Well, that's how it is. It's going to stay like that forever.
Are you a king's agent?
Asks the heavier one, a look of fear on his face. On my honour as a free wanderer, I am not, you say.
Well, if you're not an agent, then you're going to get all 3 of us sent to the salt mines. The king's spies are all about. We'd better discuss this in my room. We can't all go upstairs at once. It would be too conspicuous. So we'll go one at a time. I'll go first.
How can I trust that the 2 of you won't try to slip out the back of the inn, or even try to do me in upstairs? You ask.
Bless me, we wouldn't do that. You seem to be, if you are what you seem, the only one person that we're looking for, says Boke.
Oh, Bucky. I think I've seen this movie. Alright, first choice. If you trust them and go up to the room, turn to page 10. If you don't trust them and insist on meeting outside, turn to page 58. So put a thumbs up in the chat, a yes emote. You all have access to this just by following the channel. You don't even have to subscribe for this emote, you just have to follow for free. If you trust them, put a thumbs up. If you do not trust them, put a thumbs down. So if you want to go upstairs, thumbs up. If you want to go outside, thumbs down. Do you want to follow these two strangers to their room for a good time? Ooh, we're half and half in here. We're half and half in. I think it's slightly more majority thumbs ups. Yeah, we got a thumbs up majority just. Alright, we are turning to page 10. Does somebody want to take the honours of remembering where we are? Because we've turned from page 3 to page 10. Somebody want to write this down? So that we know when we're turning back again? If we die? Does somebody want to keep note for me? Alright, page 10. Once secured in the privacy of his room, the heavy man begins his story.
My name is Reynold. A week ago I found a man lying wounded way up on Dragon Mountain. I tried to help him, but he was past help. Just before he died, he gave me a map.
What does the map show, you ask? Reynold unfolds a small piece of parchment.
The location of a cave high up on the side of the mountain. Whether there is treasure in the cave, I don't know, but in the last minutes of his life, the man mumbled something about an immense hoard of dragon treasure beneath the earth.
Tell me how to get to this cave, you say, and I'll give you part of any treasure I find. Turn to page 15.
I think I can find the cave, says Boke. I'd like to see what's inside it myself.
Have you forgotten the King's Guard?
Asks Reynold. There's a little... Who's this? Doesn't say who's speaking.
There's a little used path that we can take to get by the guard. The less they know about our comings and goings, the better.
No, that was Boke. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Reynold shakes his head.
I'll stay here and wait for you to return. I don't want anything to do with dragons.
Settled then, you say. Boke and I will leave at dawn. After a few hours of sleeping together, you and Boke start off at daybreak. You follow a narrow, twisting street to the edge of town, and then a narrow path up into the low hills beyond. As you near Dragon Mountain, I love that it's like a surprise that a dragon lives on this mountain, and like, oh, maybe there's a cave with a dragon in it on Dragon Mountain. Why do you think it's called Dragon Mountain, dumbass? You stupid butt goblin. What is today's swear word, by the way? What is today's swear word? Today's swear word is fuck clown. Fuck clown. Why do you think it's called Dragon Mountain, you fuck clown? Dragon Mountain is shaped like a dragon, obviously. Yeah. So, you follow the narrow path up the low hills beyond, blah blah blah. As you near Dragon Mountain, the trail becomes steeper and steeper. Just as you're crossing into a shadowy clearing, you and Boke are riveted to the ground by an unseen and powerful force. Turn to page 26. A burst of hearty laughter comes from the trees as a tall, bearded figure wearing a long, elaborately patterned cloak steps into the clearing. He carries a long, carved staff.
The wizard, Zarkon!
Exclaims Boke. This is what the wizard Zarkon looks like.
The wizard Zarkon.
You're right. So you dare to enter the cave in the mountain?
Zarkon says.
You would go down to the dragon's den itself? I'll wager for treasure. Don't look so surprised. I've been reading your minds. Nothing much to that.
Zarkon laughs again.
Ha! And you, Virginia,
Disguised as a boy, no less, he says, pointing his staff at Boke. With that, Boke's hat flies off, revealing a full head of beautiful blonde hair, which you already knew because you slept with them the night before, which, coming undone, falls to her shoulders.
You're an old meddler, Zarkon.
Yeah, Boke still sounds the same even in this form.
You're an old meddler, Zarkon,
Says Boke, whom you realise you must now call Virginia. No, Vagana? Vagana. Sorry, not Virginia. Vagana. Thought I said something else for a second.
Stay out of this. We mean to find our fortunes and return.
Zarkon frowns.
What's your tongue, young lady? I could easily change you into a tadpole. Luckily, I like your spirit.
And then he turns to you.
And you, Wanderer, you're the one I've waited for. Your guidance will be invaluable to me. Let me introduce you to my little friend.
Turn to page 33. The small figure of a dwarf child jumps into view.
This is Gnarly, one of the few dwarfs ever to have left Dragon Mountain,
Zarkon continues.
3 years ago, he fell into an underground stream that carried him out of the mountain over a waterfall. Miraculously unharmed, he was found on the bank of the lake below by a woodcutter. And since then, Gnarly has been raised by the woodcutter's family. And now he wants to go back into the mountains and return to his own family. Since my mission takes me to Dragon Mountain, I promise to help him find a home. If you and Vagana will join us, maybe we can help each other.
We don't have much choice,
Vagana whispers.
Exactly,
Agrees Zarkon.
Now if memory serves me, we can take this path straight up the mountain. It's a rough climb, but it's the fastest way. Or we can take the other path, which follows a longer winding route. That way will leave us in better shape to explore the cave once we get there. We'll let our young adventurer decide. If you decide to go straight up the mountain, turn to page 18 and put a thumbs up in the chat. If you decide to take the longer winding route, turn to page 86. Thumbs up for straight up, the more treacherous but more direct route. Thumbs down for the longer but safer route. Even. Jesus, you guys are even. Oh, okay. Yes, it's starting to pull away. And then noses catch up again. Jesus, you guys can't make a decision. This is hard to call because you're pretty much even all the way down here. I ain't wasting time polling things. If I can't tell just by looking, I'm gonna roll a dice for it. Odds we go up, evens we go down. That is an odd, we're going up. We're going to page 18, so from 33 to 18. This is the first time we're going backwards. Boop. Alright. Released from Zarkon's spell, you stride forward eagerly, leading the others straight up the mountain. After hours of climbing, the four of you reach the entrance to the cave. I love that the dwarf got no say in the matter. The dwarf is just like, not even introduced themselves. I've not had to come up with a voice for the dwarf yet. Released from Zarkon's spell, you stride forward eagerly, leading the others straight up the mountain. Oh my god. What I should do, I should read both of these, and then I should leave it to the YouTube to decide. Like, I'll put a playlist together where it's like, if you want to do this, turn to this video. And then you click the video at the end of the annotations. I'm not the first person to do that, but I should do one of those. That would be really easy to edit and put into a playlist. Fancy. Released from Zarkon's spell, you stride forward eagerly, leading the others straight up the mountain. After hours of climbing, the four of you reach the entrance to the cave. I'm sorry, what? The whole point was like, make a choice. One of them is like upwards and dangerous and treacherous. But you get there faster. And then the get there faster through the treacherous route is a single paragraph of only 3 lines. You climb for hours and you reach the cave. Where was the treacherous journey? You didn't even have to. It didn't even feel arduous. Sometimes gambling pays off. I don't know. It's a shallow cave with smooth, dark walls. All of you search the cave carefully. You find nothing inside and no openings going deeper. Oh, we've got the dwarf. What does the dwarf sound like?
I think it's illegal for dwarves to be anything other than Scottish, right?
I'll just dilly-dee. I'll switch it up. This dwarf's gonna be Irish. Gonna mix things up. Gonna confuse you. You don't know who's talking. That was kind of Scoutskin. He's had a Scoutskin influence. He's been with this wizard for too long. Well, I guess we might as well go back.
Nally says.
Wait,
Exclaims Zakon.
I sense a hollowness beyond the part of this wall. Stand back, all of you.
In the dim light of the cave, Zakon's eyes begin to glow. A ray of light emanates from them, striking the back wall. Slowly, a round spot on the wall begins to turn luminous red. Sparks fly from it. A hole starts to form in the rock, and then grows larger. A strong rush of air flows through the cave and into the newly formed opening. Suddenly, Zakon grabs his head, groans, and falls to the floor of the cave. His face is very pale.
Ah, that's the most I can do,
he says.
My energy's exhausted. The underground forces here are very powerful and do not like to be disturbed. I'm not sure we should use this entrance to the mountain.
If you agree with Zakon and try and find another way into the mountain, turn to page 32. If you try to convince Zakon that you should explore this new opening, turn to page 11. If you want to try and convince Zakon to let you into his new opening, turn to page 11. So thumbs up if you want to piss off and go to find another way into the mountain, because this entrance is too well guarded. Thumbs down if you want to try and convince him to let you into his new opening. Oh, you're almost unanimous on this one, you filthy bastards. Alright, we are going from 18 to 11 as we try and get into Zakon's opening. I chose no purely because of the way Rob asked it. I don't know what I'm doing. I see what I'm doing. Zakon, you say. I think we should keep going into the mountain from here. Another entrance may be just as dangerous. You wait a while until Zakon recovers and sits up with Vagana's help.
Alright. We can try it. Just this once. As long as we've got protection and it's well lubed up. As long as we put some towels down.
He doesn't say that. He says some of that.
He says, alright, we can try it, he says. Ngali, crawl into my hole and see if the rest of us will fit.
He may not say my hole. After about 15 minutes, Ngali returns.
Oh, the passage is tight, even for me,
he reports.
But it widens out into a large cavern about 100 feet. It's very dark. I need some kind of light if I'm to go back and investigate it. This time we'll all go, all of us who wish to,
Zakon says, looking at Vagana.
After you, she replies. Age before beauty.
I hope you'll still have your sense of humour when this adventure's over,
Zakon mutters. With this, he disappears into the hole, stumbling across a hamster in here. No, gerbil. Richard Gere, why are you here? I wasn't aware I had this memory, but when my dad would read to us at night, he would very often make shit up. I wasn't aware he was training up our bullshit detectors. Nice. With this, he disappears into the hole. The three of you follow. You get stuck a few times, but make it through with nothing worse than a slightly skinned elbow and a bruised knee. Didn't he say he sensed it was hollow on the other side of the wall, so he, just opened up the wall, and then what he opened up was hundreds of feet of tunnel before it finally opens up again? That doesn't count as being hollow on the other side. Anyway. Go on to the next page. Page 12. Zakon holds up his staff. The end of it glows bright red like a flaming coal. Once your eyes become accustomed to the darkness, the red light is quite adequate to see by. You're in a large cavern. Stalactites hang from the ceiling, and huge water-carved structures like half-melted statues are spread across the floor. Suddenly, a horde of small flying creatures comes sailing at you.
Vampire bats!
Zakon shouts.
Shut your eyes tight!
Turn to page 4. Getting attacked by vampire bats. You obey Zarkon's command. Suddenly there is an explosion and a bright flash of light. The bats turn in mid-flight and vanish back into the darkness. Whew! I think we're safe for the moment, Zarkon says. Let's see if I can get a bit more light out of this stick. Love that this wizard's calling his staff a stick. Zarkon wraps his staff against his arm. The end of the like he's bashing some batteries. The end of the staff glows bright white, throwing light into the farthest reaches of the cavern. You notice Ngali over on the other side, scraping frantically at the wall. The edge of something, a door perhaps, begins to appear under his fingers. I do believe you found something, Zarkon says to him. Stand back, I'll see what I can do. Zarkon waves his staff back and forth at the wall. There is a cracking and splitting sound as the wall alternately expands and contracts until it finally collapses with a loud crash. A huge cloud of dust rises from the rubble. As the dust clears, an elaborately sculptured door appears, its metal gleaming in the light of Zarkon's staff. By my word, exclaims Zarkon, will you look at that? Complete with an inscription in Dwarfish, no less. Perhaps, Ngali, you'll like to translate it. Ngali says, it says, speak, friend, and enter. The three of you look at Ngali expectantly, but he stands pale as a ghost and shaking with fear. Let's hide behind the weavings, you say. No sooner have you settled down behind them than you hear a high-pitched voice coming from one of the other rooms.
Tarlane! Where are you? I know you're here! Don't try hiding! I know I can pick up your vibrations!
I know that voice, says Zarkon under his breath. I know that voice. Should have used the lowest voice possible. Let me take that again. The three of you look at Ngali expectantly, but he stands pale as a ghost and shaking with fear. Let's hide behind the weavings, you say. No sooner have you settled down behind them than you hear a high-pitched voice coming from one of the other rooms.
Tarlane, where are you? I know you're here. Don't try hiding. You know I can pick up your vibrations.
I know that voice, says Zarkon under his breath. It's the sorceress Mordanna. I wonder what she's doing here.
I'll find you, Tarlane,
Mordanna calls, getting closer to where you're hidden.
I'm getting vibrations. Oh, I'm getting closer. I'm picking up the vibration. I'm getting close. I'm getting warmer.
And indeed, she's coming. Directly towards you. What'll we do? Wait, no, that's you. What'll we do? What'll we do if Mordanna finds us? You whisper to Zarkon. Don't worry, he says. I think I can handle her. Mordanna's almost on top of you. Mordanna's almost on top of you when there's a loud bang. Loud banging. Like a heavy... Once I've primed myself for it, I can't stop. This is just going to be the whole stream, I'm sorry. With his big stick, yeah, I don't know. He's confident he can take her with his big stick. With his magic stick. Don't worry, I think I can handle her. Mordanna's almost on top of you when there's a loud bang, like a heavy metal door being slammed shut at the far end of the complex. Then from 5 to 20.
There you are, Tarlane,
Shouts Mordanna.
I knew you were hiding.
What's Tarlane going to sound like? I need a voice for Tarlane. It's Tarlane, Sandra.
Hey, darling. Bodger. Hello. Hello, alright, she can be Sandra.
There you are, Tarlane, shouts Mordanna. I knew you were hiding.
Hiding? Nonsense,
Tarlane exclaims.
I just came down from the tower.
I see you have your dragon staff, but then you always do, says Mordanna. You've been up in the tower directing the dragons. How exciting. I wish you'd let me try your staff sometime.
Forget it, darling,
Tarlane says.
Takes a lot of practice to control dragons.
I've not got the voice right.
Sandra, how do you do this without fucking your voice? I'm not doing it right. Sandra. Alright, Reginald likes to watch. Reginald, I got another one. Forget it,
Talon says.
Takes a lot of practice to control dragons. You'd have them crashing into each other, darling. Or worse, crashing into the tower itself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take a shower.
A what?
Asks Morgana.
You know, where I get all soapy under a spray of water and wash the dirt off my naked body.
And maybe paraphrasing just a couple of words here and there.
Oh yes, I remember now,
Morgana says with a grimace.
It's one of those unhealthy, disgusting things you do.
Oh, you're such a child of your century.
Tarlane sighs.
You dare to call me a child?
Just a figure of speech,
says Tarlane.
Now if you just wait in the other room until I'm done.
You hear the sound of a stream of water suddenly start nearby. A cloud of steam begins to rise in the room where you're hiding. Carefully you look through the keyhole. No. Carefully you look out from behind the weavings. You can see the vague outline of Tarlane standing in a large basin on the other side of the hanging curtain. Steaming water's pouring down on his naked body from some spot on the ceiling. Propped up against the outside of the basin is a long, thin metal rod, stuck to the wall and bouncing. Propped up against the wall of the basin is a long, thin metal rod, the dragon staff itself. Vagana. Who's Vagana? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hi, do you think you can reach Tarlane's staff without him seeing you?
Vagana whispers as she peeks out beside you. Alright. If you try to sneak out and snatch the dragon's staff, turn to page 31 and put a hands up, thumbs up. If you decide to wait to see how this plays out, put a thumbs down, turn to page 112. Was the shower real? Oh, the shower was real. I added soapy and naked, and that's pretty much it. Grab his staff in the shower. Alright, let's go. We are going from 21 to 31 to try and grab Tarlane's soapy staff. Alright, 31. The 80s were a weird time. As quietly as you can, you sneak out into the steam-filled room, and on your hands and knees crawl to the staff. Did I miss something? We were in like a cave, and then we found a section of wall that felt hollow or some shit, and then we destroyed the wall, and there was a metal door behind it with inscriptions on it in Dwarfish. And before we could read that, we heard a voice from somewhere, so we hid behind weavings, whatever that is. And then there's a shower in this room with us now? Did I miss something? Like, how are we in a shower? Like, we're still in the room where we haven't gotten through the door. Surely. Did I follow the right path? I mean, I don't... Maybe. This is why I'm asking you guys to keep a track of what our path has been so far. We're on a different adventure now. Like, does it, like, what have we done so far? We went 3 to something, 18 to 11. So 18 was to 11. If you're released from Zarkon's spell, you go up the mountain. So we definitely were on the right track to this point. We went up the mountain. We turned to 11. 11. Zarkon, I think we should keep going up the mountain from here. Another entrance would be just as dangerous. Blah, blah, blah. You crawl through the hole and you get a bruised knee. You go to the next page. That's page 12. Zarkon holds up his staff and vampire bats fly out. Then you turn to page 4. You obey Zarkon's command. Suddenly there's an explosion, bright flash of light. Suddenly you, blah, 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 by the look of that, complete with inscription, dwarfish, he stands shaken with fear. Ah, this is where we went wrong. I carried on from the bottom of this page to read this page. but the bottom of this page, although it ends at the bottom of the page, and all the other ones so far have ended in the bottom and just kind of read on. This one, Gnarly is shaking with fear, and then we meant to turn to page 8, and I went to page 5. I was like, this doesn't... I was like, unfortunately it read like it made sense as well to a certain degree, because it's like, Gnarly's frightened of something, you pick up on that and say, let's hide behind the weavings, quick! And you hide behind the weavings, and I'm like, I don't know what the weavings are, but I'll let that go. And then the high-pitched voice came and all that. So I'm like, that's where we went wrong. Okay, we don't have Mordana yet. But if we get an option to turn to page 5, we can continue with what we did. You found the hidden non-PG-13 area of the book by accident, yeah. Okay, page 8. From page 4 to page 8. From page 4 to page 8, okay. Gnarly, the Irish guy who's the dwarf who reads the thing on the door, he's pale with fear, and he says,
It's a curse! It's a curse directed to all dwarves! It's too horrible to repeat!
Gnarly stutters. It's the entrance to the realm of Tarlane, says Zarkon. The dreaded Dragon Master himself. He's the one I've come to stop, for I, for one, must go through that door.
I'm sorry, but I can't go with you,
says Gnarly. I know, Zarkon says. Do not feel bad. You'll find another way to your people.
I'll go with you, Zarkon, says Vagana.
Someone should go back with Gnarly and help him on his search, though, Zarkon says. So, if you're going to go back with Gnarly and try and help him find his family elsewhere in the mountain, turn to page 74. If you insist on staying with Zarkon and Vagana, go to the next page. So, are we going with... let's go up for the dwarf. Like, go back with the dwarf. That's thumbs up. And continue deeper down into the mountains. That is thumbs down. I hear that Tarlane guy has a really big stick. A metal staff, and he showers a lot. Alright, must go deeper. Let's get deeper into this. And you turn to Gnarly and say, fuck off, I'm with these guys. I've come this far, you say. I'm not turning back now.
It's all right,
says Gnarly.
I'm quite content to find my way alone.
You watch Gnarly disappear back down the passage. You watch Gnarly disappear down the back passageway to the cave, and then you turn to the sculptured door. Sculpted? Sculpted door? Or sculptured door? It has got sculptures on it, maybe? The door pushes open easily, and you, Vagana, and Zarkon step through. You find yourselves in a corridor with walls of metal, and a domed ceiling low enough for you to reach up and touch. When you do so, you feel a slight tingling in your fingers. Feel it in your fingers. The corridor is straight as an arrow. You walk single file for what seems like miles. Finally, you see a tiny dot of bluish light far ahead. When you reach it, you see that it is an open entrance to a small circular room. At the opposite side are 3 more doors, all enclosed. The centre door has a small circle above it with an arrow drawn inside the circle. The door has no latch, but Zarkon presses a spot halfway up the door frame. Zarkon's good at finding the right spot. Silently the door slides open, revealing a small square room inside. If you know how to press the right spot, you can get the entrance to open. Turn from page 9 to page 13. I know of these rooms, says Zarkon, stroking his beard. That one exists in our time. That one exists in our time is strange. They possess a peculiar magic. They can suddenly take you up or down. This one has all the marks of being directly controlled by Tarlane, the Dragon Master. We'd better avoid it if we can. The other 2 doors have latches. Vagana has opened one of them. Inside, a steep circular stairway winds upwards. You open the 3rd door to find another long corridor. This one, however, has rough, jagged rock walls. Ribbed for her, no. Vagana comes over to look.
This tunnel's way more to my liking than that steep stairway, she says.
But the stairway's more likely to lead us up to where we want to go. But I'll leave it up to you, Zarkon. Nope. But I'll leave it up to you, Zarkon says, looking at you. Ribbed for... Oh, you beat me to it. Never going to be able to put this on YouTube. I'll put it on YouTube and just get demonetized. Alright, that corridor's the only straight thing in this story. I did think about making that joke. Okay, if you decide to follow the rough-hewn tunnel, turn to page 101. If you decide to take the stairway, turn to page 24. We'll go stairway with a thumbs up because you're going upwards. Stairway upwards or rough-hewn tunnel, thumbs down. Rough tunnel, stairway up. This stream goes straight to my OnlyFans. Maybe that's something I could do on my OnlyFans actually. Okay, I was thinking about putting stuff on OnlyFans just kind of mostly for a joke, but I could probably put like actually me reading smut onto my OnlyFans. Thumbs up, thumbs down. There's a few. I think it's mostly down there. We've got quite a few yeses there. Five against. That's 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -1. So the no's come out on top. All right, no's come out on top. You decide to follow the rough-hewn tunnel. Turn from 13 to 101. This is towards the end of the book here. I bet maybe we might be about to die or something. We've gone right to the back of the book. All right, 101. Let's try the tunnel, you say. At least we won't have to do any hard climbing. The three of you go into the tunnel. The air inside is very warm. It's very warm inside this tunnel. Soon it becomes hotter and hotter. Finally, you have to stop. Going this way was probably a mistake, you admit. We should turn back. Just then, a loud roar from behind you fills the tunnel. A blast of flame follows. Where did we go from to 101? 101 Dalmatians? It was like 30 something. Oh. I don't know. Is it from 13? Was it 13? It was, yes. 13 to 101 Dalmatians. Just then a loud roar behind you fills the tunnel. A blast of flame follows.
What's that?
Asks Vegana in a worried voice. It's a fire lizard, says Zarkon. They're not as large as dragons, but they can be just as deadly. As you've seen, they can breathe fire. Unlike dragons, they're unable to fly. However, even the smallest fire lizard can outrun a horse. Another roar, much closer this time, fills the tunnel. Whatever it is, it's coming in your direction fast. The three of you dash down the tunnel in the opposite direction. Turn from 101 to 55. We're about to lose a life, I think we might. Suddenly you come out of the tunnel onto a narrow slab of rock that juts out over a vast circular pit. You almost stumble into it, but you catch yourself in time and warn Vegana and Zarkon, who are behind you. The three of you huddle on the narrow ledge, bracing yourselves against the wall. Seconds later, the fire lizard charges out of the tunnel. Unable to stop itself, it sails out over the pit. You see its evil claws flash in the air, the legs flailing in desperation as it arcs into the depths below. A piercing wail echoes about the circular pit as the fire lizard disappears into the void. That's what a fire lizard sounds like as it falls to its death. The sound of its scream becomes fainter and fainter. And then louder again. And then it's fainter again. Trailing out to complete silence. You strain to hear the fire lizard hit the bottom. But you never do. And then you hear another roar from the tunnel behind you. Another fire lizard is racing towards you. Quickly, all three of you squeeze back against the wall. But this fire lizard manages to stop just in time to keep from falling over the edge. It sits there with blazing eyes, watching you. How long can you balance on the narrow ledge trapped beneath the bottomless pit and the fire lizard? Not long at all. The end. So we went down a corridor. Fire lizard runs after us. we get out of the way of the fire lizard and it goes over the edge. Then the dungeon master, who accidentally rolled poorly on the fire lizard's dex save and couldn't think of any way to stop it from going into the pit, decides, there's another one, I guess. There's another one, and it doesn't go over the edge because it wasn't running quite as fast, and so it didn't need to make the save. And then also, it looks at you. The end. Does it breathe fire on us? Oh, that's for you to decide. Can we talk our way out of it? You don't get to, I said the end. Can we animal handling this lizard? Can I use my actor feat to pretend like I'm Tarlane because I've heard his voice somehow? Could I tempt the lizard with some rations and throw it into the pit? Could I try anything to? No, I said good day, sir. Doesn't even have the courtesy to push us into the pit. What not to do as a DM. Well, okay, we got an ending. Probably, well, hopefully one of the worst endings. You're on a ledge between a bottomless pit and a fire lizard. That's all we get. Pushing is rude. So, with your powers of divination and foresight, you think about going down the rough-hewn tunnel, and you get a vision of fire and I was going to say brimstone, fire and fire lizards and bottomless pits, and you think, I get bad omens from this. I get a vague bad omen. I don't think we should go down the tunnel. So instead, you decide to take the stairway, and you turn to page 24, from 13 to 24. You agree with Zarkon that the circular stairway is the best way to go, but after a half hour of climbing steadily upwards, you're not so sure that you made the right choice. You're tired and dizzy from going in circles, but you keep climbing. Here, stop for a moment, says Zarkon. I think I can hear something. Sounds like a fire lizard. Not really. It chases you down the staircase. No, it chases you up the staircase. You get to the top and fall off into a bottomless pit. Someone drops a marble on the stairs, we step on it, fall and die. We fall down every step. Bump, 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 bump. Stop for a moment, I think I can hear something. The three of you listen. Far above, you hear a throbbing sound. I didn't even add that one. That's in there. How can you expect me not to? You're going down rough-hewn tunnels and feeling the heat of how warm it is inside and how tight these tunnels are. And now you're hearing throbbing from above. Okay, I can't. Look, I'm only a man. I'm only a person. I'm only a human. Okay. Can't blame me for this. 1d4 corner damage per step, but only to stubbing your toes. I think the author's doing it on purpose. You hear a throbbing sound from above. What is a throbbing? Throbbing isn't a sound. Like a thrumming? Thrumming is a sound. Something like that, maybe?
What is it?
Vaganya whispers. It could be a dragon breathing, you suggest. Perhaps, says Zarkon. More likely it's some evil device from the Dragon Master. You hear a pulsating from above, the evil device of the Dragon Master. And then you hear him go, yeah, that's the one. You're the bad Dragon Master. It's an evil device from the bad Dragon Master. Oh, Jesus. Okay, turn to page 30 from 24. 24 to 30. You do seem to know your throbbing sounds. Just who or what is this Dragon Master, you ask?
There are many legends about him,
answers Zarkon.
Some say he's travelled back into our time from the future.
How can anyone come back from the future? You meant to go back to the future?
asks Vagana.
There are things stranger than you can imagine,
Zarkon says with a chuckle.
In fact, there are things stranger than you can imagine. Wizards like myself know something of this.
Is the Dragon Master a wizard? You ask.
I don't think so,
Zarkon replies thoughtfully.
He's something different. What, even, I'm not sure. But I do know he's got a massive staff. I've seen him in the shower. He's something different. What he is, even, I'm not sure. I do know that with his dragons he's spread death and destruction across the kingdoms. He must be stopped.
Well, Dragon Master or not,
says Vagana.
Let's go up and find out what's there.
The three of you continue cautiously up the stairs until you reach a trapdoor closed above you. You listen quietly for a while, and then slowly you push the trapdoor open an inch or so, and what you see makes you gasp. It's a shower. Turn from page 30 to page 7. What are we seeing behind the door? Looking through the crack of the door. Just an inch. We only open the door an inch and look through, and we see a luxurious chamber with deep, richly patterned rugs and ornately decorated walls. All about are large tables set with dishes and goblets of gold and silver, some encrusted with jewels. On one side of the chamber, throbbing away, is a large device made of metal and crystal. This is what you heard from below.
This looks like a king's chamber, you whisper.
This is the picture of you and Zarkon and whoever the fuck, Yolanda or some shit. So you sneak into the king's bedroom where you see his massive throbbing device.
Looks like a king's chamber, you whisper.
Or that of a master thief,
says Zarkon grimly. The three of you climb up through the trapdoor and stand listening for a few moments, and then you search through the other rooms of the complex. They also contain strange devices, things you've never seen before, with strange double heads and detachable parts made out of strange flexible materials. Never seen silicon before. I'm interested to know what Fancy cuts out of all of this later. This stream's going to be a half hour once Fancy removes all of these things for YouTube. But you see some weird beady long strings of stuff. Strange egg-shaped things with flanges at the bottom. Fancy's going to message me later and be like, you think I can use that? Do you think any of that's fucking usable for YouTube? She's just going to delete the VOD and be like, whoops, Twitch crashed, I guess. Nah, Fancy's no prude. There's no point in editing it, it's going to make no sense. Alright. You search through the other rooms of the complex. They contain strange devices, things you've never seen before, even in your extensive travels. You need to get out more.
We'd better hide,
says Zarkon.
I sense there's someone coming. Quick, come over here.
He points to a large cabinet in the corner.
It looks big enough to hold all three of us.
You think it can take all three of us at once? No, says Vagana. She points across the room to a space piled high with large folded pieces of cloth. We'd be much safer hiding behind those weavings.
Our adventurer here has probably a lot of experience at hiding,
says Zarkon half mockingly.
Which place do you think's best to hide in?
If you decide to hide in the cabinet, turn to page 48 with a thumbs up. If you decide to hide behind the weavings, turn to page 5. Thumbs down. This is almost unanimous. Aruna does not want to meet Morgana. It's our chance, y'all. Show time. Alright, we turn to page 5. In a weird flash of deja vu, You have a premonition. Let's hide behind the weavings, you say. No sooner have you settled down behind them, you hear a high-pitched voice coming from one of the other rooms.
Tarlane, where are you? I know you're here. Don't try hiding. I can pick up your vibrations.
I know that voice. It's Sorceress Morgana. I wonder what she's doing here.
I'll find you, Tarlane. I'm getting vibrations. I'm getting warmer.
Indeed, she's coming directly towards you.
What do we do if Morgana finds us? You whisper to Zarkon. Don't worry. I think I can.
Don't worry. I think I can handle her. Morgana's almost on top of you when there's a loud bang and the door slams shut at the end of the complex. Turn to page 20.
There you are, Tarlane, shouts Morgana. I knew you were hiding.
Hiding? Nonsense. I came from the tower.
I see you have your dragon stuff. You've been fucking dragons again. Etc, etc.
I'm gonna have a shower.
What's a shower?
You know, where I get all soapy. You're such a child of your century.
Etc, etc. You hear a stream of water. Go to the next page. Make sure I can't continue it properly. 21. You go to the stream of water. Start nearby. Do you think you can reach Tarlane's staff without him seeing you? Yes or no? If you try and sneak out and snatch the dragon staff, turn to page 31, which we decided before we were going to do. We went to 31. Okay. Is this still in the cave? We are in the mountain, but we went through the door that had the inscriptions on it. The curse towards dwarves. And then we went down a very long, narrow tube. And we came out into a room of 3 doors. The middle door had like a little circle above it that Zarkon sort of rubbed in the right way so that the door opened. And then he decided, actually, this door doesn't feel so good. Let's go in one of these other ones. Let's go in a different entrance, like a back entrance or something. There's other possibilities. If you don't want to go in this one for whatever reason, if it's not the right time for you to go in this hole, you can always go in that one or that one. And so we went along the back passage first, and it was too hot, and we got burned. And then we decided to go in the top hole instead. So we went up the staircase, and we found a bed chambers with vibrating, throbbing devices. We're all caught up. And then we're now exploring that as much as we can. Secret house hidden in the mountain, and there's someone having a shower, and we're going to see if we can grab his stuff without him noticing. So as quietly as you can, you sneak out into the steam-filled room, and on your hands and knees, fucking hell, on your hands and knees you crawl to the staff. You grab it. You gotta turn this the fuck down, Rob. You grab it and you sneak back to the pile of weavings. While Tarlane is still preoccupied, whispers... No, Zarkon, damn it.
While Tarlane is still preoccupied,
whispers Zarkon.
I'm going to confront Morgana. You must not let go of that dragon staff. And don't come out until I tell you. I have a plan.
Zarkon's going to go confront Morgana while her partner is distracted in the shower. Turn to page 37 from 31. 31 to 37. Zarkon disappears into the other room. You can just barely hear him talking with Morgana. Fortunately, Tarlane has started singing to himself. You hope he can't hear them at all.
Zarkon, what are you doing here?
Morgana exclaims.
Just passing through,
Zarkon replies.
And you've teamed up with this crazy dragon master?
Hardly,
says Morgana indignantly.
but I do have use of him.
Ah, you're just after his dragon staff,
says Zarkon.
Perhaps.
Sandra, did you say something?
Tarlane calls out over the sound of the flowing water.
Just talking to myself,
Morgana calls back, and then she softly says to Zarkon,
You'd better get out of here fast.
All right, Morgana,
says Zarkon. I'm going back through the trapdoor. I'll see you again sometime. Suddenly, Tarlane stops singing and turns off the water. We need some Sandra singing, right? I can't just jump into Sandra. She's not my she's not my character.
Reginald, I got
How does he do that? You're not meant to growl for that often. Growl is meant to be growl is meant to be an emphasizer, an emphasis maker, not an entire voice. Ben created the worst.
Oh, darling. Bodger. Reginald, I've got another darling.
What's he singing in the shower? Give me a song that I'll know. What is Tarlane singing in the shower while you've grabbed his staff? When Ben created the voice, he didn't intend to read an entire book in the voice. That's true. Drunken sailor, cool.
What do we do with a drunken sailor? What do we do with a drunken sailor? What do we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up she rises. Hooray, and up she rises. She certainly rises.
Suddenly, Tarlane stops singing and turns off the water. All is quiet for a moment. Tarlane steps out of the basin, dripping wet. I didn't add that. He reaches over and grabs for one of the pieces of cloth. Unfortunately, he grabs you by the hair. Uh-oh! We've got Tarlane, naked, dripping wet Dragon Master, grabbing you by the hair while you're on all fours holding his staff. And you're saying it's on me? This is not on me. We said no such thing, Rob. Well, Ajo did. It's entirely on you, see? Knew we should have picked the wardrobe. I mean, some of it's on you. That is true, some of it's on me. But it's hard to not get it on everyone in a situation like this. You're on your knees grabbing his stuff, he's pulling your hair. Yeah. Alright, turn to page 39. So we're going from 37 to 39. Ugh! Cries Tarlane, releasing your hair.
I've got to send these towels to the laundry.
He takes one of the weavings, drives himself off, and puts on a robe. Isn't a weaving like a tapestry? Is he drying himself on a tapestry? He takes one of the weavings, dries himself off, and puts on a robe. Then, just as you feared, Tarlane begins to search for his staff.
All right, Mordana, where did you put it?
What do you mean?
Mordana asks indignantly.
Listen, Mordana. I left my dragon staff leaning against the tub while I took a shower. And now it's gone. Since you're the only one here besides me, I assume you took it.
But I'm not the only one here. Or at least I wasn't until a few moments ago.
Mordana says.
Zakon the wizard just popped through here.
Fucking dobbing him in. What a snitch. Snitches get stitches.
Where did he go?
Shouts Tarlane in a panic.
Promise to show me how to use the dragon staff and I'll tell you, Mordana says.
All right. Tell me.
Can't do Sandra anymore. This is not a voice I can maintain. If a voice hurts, you're doing it wrong. And I don't know how to do Sandra's voice in a way that doesn't hurt, because Ben doesn't take such considerations into account when he comes up with a character voice.
Sandra, I'll just do it without sort of as much growl. She's gonna be kind of down here. I'll make her sort of cockney and just kind of like a little bit of what's this noise? That's the glottal fry, isn't it? That's the glottal fry. It's a nasal glottal fry. It's glottal fry, but put up through the nose. That's what that is.
nasal, what do they call it? Nasal resonance added to the glottal fry. That's Sandra now. All right, this is the voice. Vibrations. Yeah, he's got the Tarlane's just got the nasal vibrations. That's much easier to do without hurting the voice.
Just tired, Sandra. She's had a busy week.
All right. Just tell me.
He went through that trapdoor over there, Morgana says.
Good. We'll head him off easily then. Quick, into the elevator.
Turn from 39 to 59. Just imagine you've breathed more smoke than air in your lifetime. Yeah.
Into the what?
Asks Morgana.
Never mind. Just get in.
Tarlane says, pushing her into a small room with a circled arrow over the door like the one you saw down below. The door closes and the arrow starts to move. Suddenly, Zarkon is back up through the trapdoor.
They fell for it,
He cries. Come on out! Then he points his staff at the moving arrow. An explosion blasts away part of the wall above the door.
That should hold them for a while,
He says. They're trapped in the shaft. I didn't say shaft. Shaft is in the book.
They're in the shaft. That should hold them. You should hold that shaft.
Alright, so 59, turn to page 45. Now that we've got the dragon staff, what shall we do, you ask?
We need to find the stairs to Tarlane's tower,
Zarkon replies.
If we reach the top, I can try and call the eagles to rescue us.
Eagles? Exclaims Vagana. You must be joking. I think we should search for an exit down here. She turns to you and asks, what do you think? So, I knew that grabbing his staff only was the best choice. If you decide to try and find the tower stairs so that you can go upstairs and hopefully call some eagles, turn to page 44 and put a thumbs up. If you decide to look for an exit down here on this floor, turn to page 78 with a thumbs down. Thumbs up for tower to get the eagles, thumbs down to try and find an exit. Alright, you're all putting thumbs up the eagles. That is from 45 to 44. We turn back a page. Let's try find the tower, you say. The door to it must be down this way. And it is. Vagana shakes her head in disbelief as the three of you start up the tower stairs.
We must find a way to destroy the dragon staff,
Zarkon says. Can't we just smash it or throw it off the top of the tower, you ask?
I don't think so, he answers. It might just release the dragons and cause devastation in a new uncontrolled way.
Soon you reach the top of the tower. You close the door to the platform and lock it from the outside. I've got a feeling what might be coming, but I'm not sure.
No wonder Tarlane can direct his dragons from up here, Zarkon says. We can see 6 kingdoms down there.
The dragon staff in your hand begins to beep. There's a row of small bumps along one side of the staff. They push in when you press on them and pop out again when you release the pressure. Far on the horizon, a row of black spots bobs in the sky. I don't understand this, you say to Zarkon. When I press these top bumps on the staff, the black dots disappear. When I press the bottom bumps, the black dots come back.
Those black dots must be dragons many leagues away,
Zarkon says.
You're doing something with them, or to them. You're pressing buttons from afar and it's affecting the dragons. They must have some connection, some sort of device that the dragons have got on them or in them or something, that when you press buttons, it affects the dragons from a distance. Keep pressing the buttons, we'll find out which buttons press. We'll find out which buttons are the buttons to press to make the dragons do what we want. If we can dominate these dragons somehow. Oh, Jesus Christ. You're doing something with them or to them. This bodes ill, I fear. I must try to contact the eagles before it's too late.
I almost did the same thing and read on again. Turn to page 52. Just keep pressing buttons. Turn to page 52. Before Zarkon can do anything, however, you notice that the dots have grown into definite shapes and are getting larger by the second. The dragons are heading back to the tower. By pressing these buttons, you're making them get larger. The dragons are heading back to the tower. Frantically, you press all the small bumps on the staff, but it doesn't turn the formation of dragons back. Soon they're immense shapes, blocking out the sun and hurtling straight at you. Turn from 52 to 14. The three of you duck as several enormous dragons roar by the tower, narrowly missing it. The blast of wind almost blows you off the top. A number of other dragons are circling around in confusion about a half-mile away. Their claws flash in the sunlight and blasts of flame and smoke shoot out from their huge, gaping mouths. One of them swoops close to the top of the tower, trying to see who now carries the dragon's staff. For a moment you look into two terrible eyes.
I hope they don't blast any flame in our direction,
says Vegana.
It would roast us alive.
Great contribution you've had so far to the entire process, Vegana, by the way.
As long as we have the dragon staff, I think we're safe,
says Zarkon. But then, to make matters worse, the door to the tower begins to shake. Your ears ring with the sound of a sledgehammer being applied to the inside of the door.
Oops, I fear Morgana and Tarlane have already escaped our little trap,
says Zarkon. What can we do? You ask.
Quick, says Zarkon. Hand me the dragon staff.
This is not a choice. We do not get to make a choice here. Just making that very well known. We do not get to choose to not hand in the dragon staff. I am getting my suspicions that I've had for several pages now is getting a lot closer to being reality. Turn from 14 to 17. The door to the tower is beginning to buckle at the hinges. Zarkon waves the dragon staff in the air with one hand and his own staff with the other. Zarkon firmly grips both staffs and waves them around simultaneously, hoping for a particular effect. Zarkon waves the dragon staff in one hand, and he and he manipulates his own with his other hand. Suddenly, the ugly spined head of one of the dragons appears next to the top of the tower. The dragon's broad wings flap furiously in the air to keep it suspended there. I'll lower myself onto this head first. He says, I'll jump onto the dragon's head first, but it's the same thing. I said the same thing, just paraphrased it. I'll lower myself onto his head, says Zarkon. You two follow as quickly as you can. The tower door is about to give. Zarkon and then Vegana jump onto the dragon's head and cling desperately to its horns. Thank God this dragon's horny. But now that it's your turn, the dragon's head has drifted out several feet. You don't know if you can make this jump. Turns towards you. Come, quickly! Man, I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge. I'm not sure if I can make it. I just have to say this was the best book choice. we may well have done the same with the others, let's be honest. Alright, you've got a choice to make. If you decide to try and jump to the dragon's head, turn to page 88 and put a thumbs up in the chat. If you decide to wait and take your chances with Morgana and Tarlane, put thumbs down and turn to page 106. Kind of rocking a hard place here. You're going to try and make the jump. Dragon's innuendo. Nice. Oh, look at this. Unanimous. Unanimous. Jump on that head. Alright. You're going to go for the head. So, turning from page 17 to 88, let's see if you can get that head. You step back as far on the platform as you can take. You take a short run up, and you leap out into space. you don't quite make it. As you plummet downwards, the dragon, with Zarkon and Vagana still aboard, swoops down and catches you in its mouth. The dragon takes you in its mouth. With just enough pressure, the dragon's ghastly teeth hold you without hurting you. With holding back on too much teeth, the dragon manages to take you into its mouth, and you're transported gently down to safety and released. So the dragon gets you in its mouth, holds back on using too much teeth, and then transports you to release. Is what the book says. Just outlining that. Perfect teeth control is critical, yeah. The dragon took out its dentures. It transports you gently down to the ground and releases you. At the same time, Zarkon and Vagana slide down the side of the dragon's head to safety. Then the dragon roars off. Zarkon hands the dragon staff back to you. I was wrong, I guess. That is not what happened. Could have sworn that Zarkon was deliberately manipulating us and just wanted the staff. Zarkon hands the dragon staff back to you. It's not wise for me, as a good wizard, to hold this staff too long. Controlling dragons is one of the evil arts. You, however, can do it for a short time and come away unscathed. Oh, I almost did the same thing of... Thankfully that one didn't read on, otherwise I would have been like, what? Alright, turn from page 88 to 91. You wave the dragon staff in the air. The dragons move like gigantic kites across the sky, as if they were controlled by strings attached to the staff. High above, looking over the top edge of the tower, are the tiny faces of Tarlane and Mordana. You hear them scream as one of the dragons crashes headlong into the tower and sends it crashing to the ground. You run to search the rubble for Tarlane and Mordana, but they are nowhere to be found. Turn to page 100. I think we got the happy ending.
Over here!
Vagana shouts.
It looks as if one of the tower blocks has caved in the entrance to Tarlane's quarters.
Sure enough, in front of you is a large hole in the ground, and a ladder leading down. Slowly the three of you descend. Inside you find Tarlane's treasure room. Inside the hole you find the treasure room, filled with sacks of jewels and gold coins that were taken as ransom from the dragon-threatened kingdoms.
There's enough treasure here to last us forever,
shouts Vagana. Later, with Zarkon's help, you find the combination of bumps on the dragon staff that sends waves of joy, that sends the dragons back to their den. Later, with Zarkon's help, you find the combination of bumps. You find the right buttons to press in the right order. Fucking hell, stop it. Later, with Zarkon's help, because two hands are better than one. Fuck. Later, with Zarkon's help, you find the combination of bumps on the dragon's staff that sends the dragons back to their den and makes them go to sleep. Then you seal the dragon's staff deep in a vault. You seal the dragon's staff deep in a vault and hope that the dragons will stay sleeping under the mountain forever. The end. We found a bad ending, and then we found a happy ending. Unfortunately, it was all a premonition, because we actually find ourselves back at the last decision we had to make, which was see if you can grab his staff or not, or no, search for eagles or not, or something, or I don't know, somebody was keeping track. What was the last decision we had to make? I definitely need a cigarette now. What was the to jump or not? To jump or stay on the top of the tower, was that the last one? What page was that? Somebody taking note? Help me out. I asked you to keep note. What page were we? You're my fingers in this, essentially. My fingers in the page. 88, maybe. Nope. 88 was what we turned to when we decided to make the jump. 91. Nope, 91 was the rubble, searching the rubble for them. 17. Good job on keeping note, guys. Jesus. Alright, 17, thank you. The door to the tower is beginning to buckle. Blah, blah, blah. I'll jump on the head first. You two follow as quickly as you can. The door's about to give. They both jump on the head, desperately cling to its horn. And then the dragon's head drifts out several feet. You don't know if you can make the jump. You think through in this moment. If I make the jump and I miss, then surely the dragon catches me gently in its mouth and then lowers us to the ground, and then he hands the staff back to me, and then the dragon smashes the tower and everybody dies, and then also some of the rubble falls and it opens a treasure hoard, and then everybody lives happily ever after. Maybe that's the best case scenario, and then you jump yourself back to this moment and you think, who am I kidding? This is ridiculous. Even if I do miss, the dragon's not going to catch me, and even if it does, it's gonna eat me, and even if it does lower me to the ground, the guy's going to steal the staff, and then it's wishful thinking. I better just stay here and take my chances with Mordana. So you decide to wait and take your chances with Mordana and Tarlane. You turn to page 106. I feel like all the endings are at the end of the book, so probably not great to turn all the way back here, but hey. Turn to page 106 from 17. You watch the space between you. You watch the space between you and the dragon grow wider as you turn and look back to the door. The hinges give way and the door comes crashing out. You stand there facing Tarlane and Mordana. Tarlane looks at you and then at Zarkon on the dragon's head several feet out from the edge of the tower. Tarlane has some sort of metal object cradled in his hand. He starts to point it at Zarkon. Quick as a flash, you bat his hand aside. The object makes a loud noise as it goes flying off into space. Tarlane looks at his empty hand in amazement for a second. Immediately you tackle him and throw him to the tower platform. This is the image, by the way, of them crashing out of the doorway. This is Mordana, with a face to suit the voice, of course. And this is Tarlane with a pistol. So he is from the future. He knows what elevators are and pistols. Alright, so you tackle him and throw him to the tower platform. Turn to page 113. This is for sure an end. Nope. Meanwhile, Mordana and Zarkon are having a different kind of battle. Their burning stares meet midway in the air, and a crackling ball of flame forms there. Zarkon is struggling to control the dragon with the dragon's staff as the flaming ball creeps closer to him. It's getting too hot for him to concentrate on controlling this staff. Tarlane struggles free from your grasp and dives back down the tower stairs. You grab Mordana from behind. Just as the ball of flame is about to envelop Zarkon's hand, the flame evaporates. You've saved Zarkon from a fiery death. Then the dragon, with Zarkon and Vagana, flies off. Mordana whirls around to give you her flaming whammy. You're going to take Mordana's flaming whammy? Hey baby, you ever tried a flaming whammy? But before she can, you duck down under her line of sight, and give her a big shove backwards. At the same moment, Mordana grabs you by the hair and forces you in. Nope. Before she can, you duck down under her line of sight, give her a big shove backwards. At the same moment, Mordana grabs hold of you, and both of you sail off the edge of the tower platform. She grabs you, pulls you tighter, and you sail over the edge together. Turn to page 96 from 113. Flaming whammy? Need some cream again. As you fly over the edge with Mordana, she lets go of you. You slip down and grab her by the ankles. Above you, Mordana spreads out her arms, and her cape fills with air, slowing your descent to the ground. The two of you land with a crash at the bottom of the tower. You're shaken up, but otherwise all right. You run away from the tower as fast as you can. In the distance you see that the dragon has set Zakon and Vagana down on the ground. Then it flies up into the air and blasts the tower with its flaming breath. The top of the tower explodes in flame and smoke, hurling huge stones in all directions. You're already running towards Vagana and Zakon. You reach them safely through the thick pall of black smoke. When the smoke clears, there's no trace of Tarlane or Mordana, and in the confusion, the dragon's staff has disappeared. You, Zakon, and Vagana hike back down the mountain towards town. For the time being, you've had your fill of treasure hunting. The end. So that was that was a safe ending? Like you managed to pull out in time before like the danger happened and the tower exploded? So you were safe? Because you weren't, you managed to pull out of the tower before it exploded? But it was a bit of an unsatisfying end. It was a good ending, but it's not the best ending. Like, you've had better. You've had better endings. You've had better adventures. But, like, it's okay. You'll definitely think about this adventure from time to time. Like, it had some real good thrills. Like, there were some good moments within it. But it's not like... It won't go down in history as, like, one of the best adventures you've ever had. Alright, what was before this? What was the last thing we had last choice we had to make? Before, did we have to make any choices since you tackled the guy and fell over? I don't think so, right? What was before 17? Who was keeping note? Was it 14? Thank you. 14 turned to page 17, but it wasn't an option. What was before 14? I think it would have been the go up the tower in search of eagles. Are we still going? There wasn't enough endings? Good lord, the stamina on this guy. Oh mate, Robert Reeds can go for hours. Robert Reeds is never satisfied with finding a single ending. 52 turned us to 14. What was before 52 though? There was no choice there. It was you playing with the dots on the tower. Playing with the dots on the shaft. 44 turns to 52, but nothing before, no choice to make. What was before 44? The 44 was the 45. There you go. Alright, 45. Now that we've got the dragon staff, what should we do? Should we find the stairs to the tower, and if we reach the top I can try and get the eagles to help us? Or, you must be joking, search for an exit down here. We think about going up the tower, we think, yeah, maybe we can escape the tower from up there, but maybe there's more fun to be had by trying to find if there's other entrances and exits down here. So, you think about the tower, but you decide to look for an exit down here instead. Turn to page 78. So we have to go back to 45 and then whatever was before 45. 78. Alright, so, turn to page 78. Vagana's right. There must be some exit somewhere around here, you say. And the three of you quickly search every room and corridor in the complex. Finally, Vagana finds the door to the tunnel at the far end of the corridor. You and Zakon follow her in to investigate. Suddenly the tunnel fills with thick green gas. That's always the downside. It's always the risk of taking the back tunnel. It's got poisonous gas in it that you don't necessarily want to be inhaling. You and Zakon follow her in to investigate, and suddenly the tunnel fills with thick green gas. It's a trap, you scream, helplessly gasping for air. But before you know it, you become confused and disoriented. That can happen after this many endings. The gas is affecting your mind. Somehow you know what you're seeing is all an illusion, but still you can't stop the rush of horrible images. Hundreds of monsters circling your feet, slowly climbing up your legs, up your inner thighs. It doesn't say that. You shake them off, but they return as skinless lizards that cling to your neck, their fangs glistening, sucking and biting and nibbling at your neck. It doesn't say that. This illusion will continue for a long, long, long time. The end. You got the confusing ending? Into hentai ending. You got the hentai ending. Alright, you walked into a passageway, you got gassed, and then you illusioned. You hallucinated. What's happening before 45? What was the page before 45? What turned us to page 45? 59. 59 is, let's see, come on. 59 just turned to page 45, no choice, so before 59. $39, thank you. 39 just turned us to 59. What was before 39? This is when he grabbed your hair. This is when the guy who was getting out of the sopping wet shower grabbed you by the hair. 37 just turned to 39. Zarkon disappeared into the other room and you can barely hear him talking. This is when this is right after you grabbed his shaft while he was in the shower. What was before 37? This is when you gripped a hold of his staff, took advantage of him in the shower and grabbed his staff. 31, thank you. 31 just turned to 37. As quietly as you can, you snuck out into the room on all fours and grabbed his staff. Before 31 was 5, was it? Was that when we had to decide whether we were going to go climb out or not? Okay, here's the thing. Here we go. That was the last choice to make. 21. We're getting close to 5. We all remembered what 5 was. That was the weaving's choice, but we're not there yet. You hear the sound of stream of water suddenly start nearby, a cloud of steam rising into the room where you're hiding. You carefully look out from behind the weavings. You can see the vague outline of him in the shower. Steaming water pouring down on his body from some sort of spot on the ceiling. Propped up against the outside of the basin is a long, thin metal rod. Do you think you can reach Tarlane's staff without him seeing you? You think through things. You think, I mean, maybe, but maybe he'd come out of the shower and grab me by the hair. I don't know if I'd like that. It's pretty risky. Let's wait and see how this plays out. You decide to wait this time, and you turn to page 112. This is going to straight be an ending, right? Surely. 112. I don't know. That staff's too close to Tarlane for me to grab it without being seen, you say. Besides, I don't have his consent to grab his staff. Always wait for consent. Tarlane starts singing in the shower. We did what do we do with a drunken sailor before? What was another choice? What was another option of what he can be singing? Tarlane, all right, Tarlane. What is the song? It's too late to apologize. It's too late. I'm trying to save the world, kill the bad guy, something like that. As he's singing in the shower, at the top of his voice and off tune.
If I know Mordana, says Zarkon, she won't be able to stand Tarlane's singing. She'll probably go to another part of the quarters until he's finished. Let's try to sneak out then. Sure enough, when you get to the other room, Mordana's nowhere to be seen. You tiptoe silently down one of the side corridors and come to a heavy iron door. I wonder if it's locked, you whisper. We won't know until we try it, says Vegana with a grin.
Carefully you lift... Sorry, no.
We won't know until...
No, what was she?
She was this... We won't know unless we try it, says Vegana with a grin.
I want to also point out that in none of the endings we've found so far, Vegana has done anything. Vegana was the one who said go down the long-hewn corridor, which got us killed by lizards. Vegana was the one who said we should stay here and look for an exit, which got us killed by lizards. Vegana has done nothing other than get us killed. Maybe that's a deliberate choice by the writer. Maybe it's seeding the fact that, it's a 50-50 chance, but if you've been paying attention, you do know not to choose Vegana's options. Maybe Vegana just has to feed their lizards. Yeah, maybe. Alright, so...
we won't know unless we try it,
says Vegana with a grin. Carefully you lift the latch and pull. The door swings silently open. Turn from 112 to page 60. It's dark inside. The three of you go in, and Zarkon lights his staff so you can see.
I think we've made another mistake,
He says as he looks around.
let's try another way.
You go back to the heavy door, but while you were looking around it had quietly closed and locked itself. The inside of the door is featureless, shiny metal. There's no latch on your side. Looks like we're stuck with going this way, you say. Turn from 60 to 72. Zarkon shakes his head.
I fear we're inside the base of Tarlene's tower.
He opens a door on the other side of the room.
See? Here's a stairway.
Let's go up, says Vegana. Maybe there's a way to get down on the outside of the tower.
It's possible,
says Zarkon.
I have a plan.
The three of you climb up the stairway. At the top, you come out onto a platform with a low railing. The view is incredible, but when you look down the outside of the tower, you see that the sides are of sheer, almost polished stone. Then far in the distance, and close to the horizon, you see black dots dancing in the sky.
Do you see those?
Asks Vegana.
They might be dragons. Here there be dragons.
They are dragons,
Says Zarkon.
and they could return at any moment. That huge burnt scar on the mountain over there is their dragon hole. Can you see their dragon hole? They're exposing it to us.
Turn from 72 to 114. Zarkon gives a long, loud whistle. Soon you see more black spots coming from over the mountain tops.
Terrific,
Says Vegana.
here come more dragons. We're done for now.
No, says Zarkon.
These ones are friends.
And you can see that Zarkon's right. They aren't dragons in the sky,
But eagles.
they aren't dragons in the sky, but eagles. Huge ones.
The eagles are enemies of the dragons.
Zarkon explains, as we all know.
They will aid those in danger from the dragons. Stand by the edge here and get ready to grab onto them. Come on, edge yourself. Edge yourself right up and get ready to grab them.
Sure enough, only seconds later, 3 eagles swoop down. Their strong wings beat rhythmically. Strong winds nearly beat you off the tower. Beat rhythmically in the air as they carry the 3 of you safely back to town. Later, Zarkon treats you and Vidgana to dinner at the inn. Tomorrow, we'll go back to that cave and try and find out if Ngali is right, he says. You and Vidgana agree. You don't realise it now, but many adventures still lie ahead of you inside Dragon Mountain. The end. I think the last thing we had to make a choice was if you decide to wait, turn to 112, which means that was the last of that choice as well. The friend zone ending. Yeah, yeah, you became friends. But you and Zarkon and Vegana are all very good friends now, and you'll have the benefits of each other's company when you go adventuring. So Zarkon gives you the benefit of like magic, and Vegana, she hasn't benefited you in any way other than the fact she's a very attractive blonde, as she was described. So I guess you could say you got the friends with benefits ending. All right, so we have to decide if we hide in the towels or the wardrobes. I think that was the last choice, wasn't it? What turned us to 21? Was there anything between 5 and 21? 5 turned us to 20. 20 went on to the next page. So yeah, 5 was the last one, which was hiding in the weavings. So we need to go back to whichever page gave us the option of hiding in the closet. Was it 7? 7. It was 7. Well done. Alright, so, whoosh, our premonitions are getting stronger. We don't know how we have this divination talent of thinking what might happen in the future, but we now find that all of that has been a premonition. None of it's happened yet. You are still standing in a luxurious bedroom with a throbbing metal device. The book's words, not mine. And as you stand in the bedroom with this throbbing device, you hear voices coming, and you have to decide: are you going to hide behind the weavings, or are you going to hide in the cabinet? Is it time to go back in the closet? Okay, you decide. I don't think the weavings are where it's at. Let's hide in the closet. We go to page 48 from page 7. That's a strange-looking cabinet, you say.
Yeah, still, it's large enough to hold the three of us easily. Trust me, I've been with this cabinet before. It can handle three at once.
The three of you quickly climb inside. As you close the door behind you, there is a click and then a whirring sound. You didn't expect that. Suddenly you're whirled around, spinning faster and faster. You struggle to get the door open, but it's no use, and you're rapidly losing consciousness. I've been there, my friend. Alright, turn to page 56. From 48 to 56. When you wake up, the whirling has stopped. The door clicks open again. You shake your head to get rid of the grogginess in it. Aside from feeling dizzy, the three of you are all right. You brace yourself for a confrontation with whoever might be outside the cabinet. But you peek out. No one's there. Instead, the room that the cabinet was in when you entered it has been replaced by a much larger room. One that is filled with the same kind of devices that were in the old room. But there are so many more of them. On the other side of the room, a long high window looks out over a broad valley ringed by tall mountains. A door next to the window leads outside. The three of you go out. The view is breathtaking. In the distance there are many strange-looking buildings and structures.
By some magic I don't understand, says Zakon. We've been transported. In time. Into the future by the looks of it.
As he says this, you hear a heavy droning overhead in the sky. If we've travelled in time, you say, the dragons have followed us. Look up there. Turn from page 56 to 79. Now here's a fun thing, actually. They're in the future, but this book was written in 1984, which was 40 years ago. 1984 was not technically before the internet. The first email was sent before that, I think. But before personal computers, before PCs. Certainly before cell phones. Or like portable cell phones, not those big fucking car battery ones. 84 was... let's see. They definitely had TV, they had colour TV. Britain had changed to the decimal system with their currency. We'd landed on the moon a decade or so before. 1969 we landed on the moon, that's correct. So 15 years since the moon race. We stopped going to the moon in 77, I think it was. So it's after the moon race, the space race had kind of stopped. 54 to the 70s, so it was after Vietnam. Challenger disaster. I don't think so, because 84 is a little late for the space race, I think. So we were into the technology age, we were into the information age after the space race. We went Cold War, space race, and then into sort of computer age. So it's kind of the beginning of the computer age. What exactly are you trying to find out? I'm just trying to get my head in the right space when in history this book was written, so that I can predict what it thinks is it's going to add when it says, you've gone to the future. So the device has headed you to the future. You've got some sort of throbbing devices, and there was a lot more throbbing devices in the shop that you came out of. I'm trying to sort of imagine what those things could be. The dragon that's flying overhead, I'm almost certain is about to be revealed to be a plane, but there's a chance that they've gone so far into the future that the people of 84 was thinking like flying cars, because they were all about flying cars in the future visions of the 80s. Back to the Future came out in 85, so their vision of the future might be similar, yeah. Alright, let's find out. If we're in the future, the dragons have followed us. Hundreds of black, cross-like shapes fill the sky.
What's happening?
Asks Vagana.
Could those be dragons dropping their eggs?
Run! You shout in a panic. You race for the cover of a nearby grove of trees. Suddenly, there are tremendous explosions all around you. One of them destroys the inside of the building you just came out of. Zarkon pulls you and Vagana to the ground just in time to save you from being hit by pieces of the windows flying through the air. I have a horrible feeling, says Zarkon, that we've just travelled forward in time to a period that makes the time we come from seem very peaceful. And I'm afraid our chances of returning to our time have just blown up. The end. So you travel forward in time to a time of war, and then a plane drops a bomb on you, and your time machine blows up. That's the I've run out of ideas for endings ending. That's the unexpected ending. That's the I'm not sure that I'm okay with what just happened ending. Alright, so before 79 was what? What turned us to 79? 56. 56 turned us to 79. What turned us to 56? 48. And before 48... Let's just go back to that second ending. We already found the good ending. Yeah, we definitely found the happiest ending second, which is unfortunate. Because now we're chasing more endings knowing that they're never going to be as good as the second one. In that case. Alright, 7 turned us to 48, and 7 was the where do we hide? Alright, 7. We're looking into a bedroom with throbbing devices, so I don't think we're ever going to find out what those throbbing devices are. Maybe we will. Maybe we will on a different ending. Before 7? Have we read page 69 yet? I don't think so. I would have definitely acknowledged if something said turn to page. Nah, it's a page. It's a picture, so nothing's ever going to turn us to 69. Gotta run now. Thanks for laugh. No worries. Before 7 was 30. Before 30. Who or what is this Dragon Master? There are many legends about him. Some say he's travelled back into our time from the future. I love that the line in this book is, how can anyone come back from the future? The year before Back to the Future was released. Before 30 was 24, and before that... I wish these Choose Your Own Ending books said what page number or numbers lead to this page. So you can just go backwards. 24, 13 turned us to 24. Ha! Oh no, that was the rough-hewn tunnel or take the stairway. We've done both of those. So what was before 13? Before 13 was 9. Before 9, I've come this way. You say I've come this far. I'm not turning back now. That was so our next choice is to turn back with Ngali. We've done all of the choices of going inside the tunnel from this particular direction. Before. Oh yeah, it was on the previous page. Okay. So, you go all the way back to the tunnel, where you're sending Ngali off to be on his own, or you're going with Zarkon, and you think, man, there's 2 of them going on their own, only one of Nali, I might as well go 2 and 2, go with Nali. Alright. So, you go with Nali, you decide to go back with Nali, turn to page 74. Did we ever choose to go down the path and set it up the hill? We're going our way back to that. That was obviously an earlier choice, and so we're not there yet. Okay, 74. I guess I should go with Ngali, you say. He'll need help if he's going to find his people. Good luck to you. Good luck to you both, says Zarkon with one of his rare smiles. You follow Ngali back into the low, narrow passageway leading to the cave, and finally you're alone. Ngali being so small is quickly ahead of you. Again, you have trouble squeezing through this long passage. It's tight. Suddenly, you come to a point where the passageway divides right and left. You don't remember passing this fork on your way in, but feeling your way along in the darkness, you could easily have missed it. Then, from far off down one of the passageways, you hear Ngali's voice calling. You crawl in that direction and come to another fork. You strain to catch the sound of Ngali's voice again. You hear a muffled sound to the right. If it's Ngali, he's much farther off this time, but you follow the sound anyway. Soon you find yourself back at the same fork. You try a different direction, it doesn't help. No matter which way you go, you return to the same fork. You're going round in circles! And you're going to be going round in circles for a long, long time. That's definitely the edging option. That's the edging ending. That's the blue balls ending. You're not going anywhere. You're squeezing into a narrow passageway, but never finding release. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. What turned us to page 74? That was going back with Ngali, so we're going to have to go... That was 8, wasn't it? I think I remember. 8 was go back with Ngali. What turned us to 8? 4. What turned us to 4? You were getting attacked by bats. We're getting close to the very start of where we started the book now, so we must be right back to the very first option we could have chosen. Just can't get no satisfaction. Alright. Not 9, you twat. 12. Not twat, sorry. Fuck clown? Fuck clown. It wasn't 9, you fuck clown. 9 came from 8, and 8 came from 4, and 4 came from 12. What gave us to 12? That's us fighting the bats. 11, and before that 18. Thank you. Somebody finally gives me more than one fucking choice at a time. What do you think we've been doing this whole time? Give me the next numbers that I'm going to need. Thank you, Ratiba. Alright, 11 turned to 12, and before that was 18. And what was before 18? 18 was the choice. Okay, ahem. We zip all the way back to outside the mountain, and we think, damn, if we go up the mountain, there's no options I haven't explored up there. I guess we go down the mountain, or down the path, or whatever the fuck it was. Oh no, not quite at the path yet. This is the Zarkon put his hole out there and asked if you wanted to go into it because he's feeling pretty exhausted, and you convinced him to let him enter. Released from his spell, you go up the mountain. His eyes glow red. Then he holds his head and goes, "Ow! Opening that hole took it out of me. My face is very pale. That's the most I can do. My energy's exhausted. Maybe we should find a different way in." You agree with Zarkon and you try and find another way into the mountain. You turn to page 32. 18 to 32. "All right, Zarkon," you say. "If you know any other way into the mountain, I'm willing to try it. Any hole's a goal, after all. Any entrance is a gentrance." You, Vagana, and Ngali follow Zarkon back outside the cave. "There's a path that leads around the mountain, and it'll take us where Ngali was swept away," he says. The sun is now high in the sky. When Ngali was swept away, what happened? Did we catch Ngali? I remember that. Oh, in Ngali's past. That's right. It's in his backstory. He was swept away by the river. "There's a path that leads around the mountain and will take us where Ngali was swept away," he says. The sun is now high in the sky. You walk single file along a narrow path, which does not go upward, but leads gradually downward, until you're back among the small gnarled trees at the upper reaches of the forest. You become aware of a roaring sound coming from somewhere ahead of you. The roar gets louder and louder. At the top of a high hill, you step out into a clearing and look at the side of the mountain. A waterfall pours out of a sheer cliff and plunges hundreds of feet down to a lake below. "You really think this way will be safer?" you ask, looking up towards the falls. You may have a point there," Zarkon replies. "But we're here now, and there's a path that winds up above the falls. We could rope down to an entrance above the mountain from above. We could rope down to the entrance to the mountain from above. I happen to have a stout length of rope in my cloak. I know how to use rope. I've been to classes. There's also a narrow ledge in the rock face on the other side of the cliff that leads to the opening. I'm sure our adventurer here will know which way is best." Okay, so we've got an option. If you decide to follow the narrow ledge across the rock towards the opening, turn to page 46 with a thumbs down. And if you decide to rope down from above, So if you want to go up above the opening and then rope down, go with the thumbs up. Thumbs up for go up the mountain and abseil down, and thumbs down for work your way along the narrow ledge. Bum, bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum, bum, ba-da. Alright, we've got yeses galore. We are definitely going to start getting into rope work. Okay. We're going to rope from above. That's page 89. From 32. 32 was an option, everybody. Somebody keep track of the fact that 32 was the last option, because it's the options that I need to turn back to, not every individual page. 32 turns to 89. Roping down from above seems the safest, you say. And with rope work, it's all about safety first. You start up the path towards the top of the cliff, high over the waterfall. You lead the way and get to the top, well ahead of the others. You get slightly dizzy looking down, so you decide to look towards the top of the mountain until the others catch up to you. As you look upwards, however, you notice a tower high on the mountain top, and on top of that tower, so distant that it's a mere speck, you see a face. There's something about it. The face seems to grow in your mind until you can see nothing else. 2 eyes. They overpower you. You stagger backwards. Your foot slips on the edge of the cliff, and you hurtle down into space. Desperately, Zakon shoots his rope at you. As you fall, but the rope misses. You hit the surface of the lake and vanish forever into its deep waters. You got 2 lost in the eyes. Eye contact's important, but eye contact is very powerful. Sometimes too powerful. Sometimes you can't help. You're on the edge, and you feel like you can stay on the edge, but then you get eye contact and it tips you over the edge, and you plunge down into wetness. The end. Who could have foreseen that climbing up the cliff face to rope down to the mountain would have been a bad ending? Back to 32, I guess. All right. Your premonition kicks in, and you're like, I don't want to finish this early. I want this to last longer. I don't want to finish all wet like that. Well, not yet, anyway. So you decide we're gonna edge our way along the narrow ledge towards the opening. Turn to page 46. So from 32 to 46. When they make eye contact while shooting their rope at you. I am getting more convinced that they know what they're doing. The language choices that they're using. There was no reason they needed to say throbbing. The language choice they're using, the shower scene, there was no need to have a shower scene. The fact that he got out of the shower with a wet body and grabbed you by the hair and they put a picture of them grabbing you by the hair while you were on all fours grabbing his staff. Like they know what they're doing. This is a children's book, but it's a children's book in the same way that like early Disney movies were children's movies, and yet if you watch them now, you're like, oh man, these are filled with innuendo. These are designed to keep the parents entertained as well. This one's on top at the moment. This is the best Choose Your Own Ending book I've read so far. Not only for the fun innuendo and stuff, but actually it's well written. Like there's been a couple of bits that I'm like, but overall this has actually genuinely not had many things for me to complain about as opposed to all of the other Choose Your Own Endings up to this point. All right, let's give the ledge a try. You say. If it's really wide enough to keep our footing, it seems the easiest way. You follow Zakon down a winding path to the edge of the lake, and then along its shore to the other side of the cliff. Zakon leads you up again along a steeper path. Before long, the path turns into a vertical series of rock holds. Finally, a vertical series of rock holds, aka holes that are big enough for your fingers. Finally, you reach a point across from the opening to the falls. From there you can see the narrow ledge that Zakon was talking about. It is very narrow, a few inches wide, tracing a thin line across the cliff.
Irish, let me go first,
says Gnarly.
Not only am I smaller and lighter than the rest of you, but I want to be the first to go into the tunnel that leads back to my home. I don't want to be sloppy seconds into this tunnel. I want to be the first one to enter the tunnel to my home. Alright, Gnarly,
Zarkon says.
but be careful, mate.
Turn from 46 to 50. The rest of you watch. The rest of you watch as Gnarly inches his way in step by step towards the falls. You... Come on. The rest of you watch as Gnarly inches his way in step by step towards the falls. Finally, he disappears around a corner and vanishes inside the opening. Moments later, his head reappears. It's all right, he shouts.
It's all right,
he shouts. You decide to go next, pressing yourself as tightly as you can against the rock. Careful you don't work your way up into it is. Careful you work your way along the ledge. You don't dare look down. You're afraid you might get dizzy and fall off. You're almost there. You've almost reached the opening in the cliff where Gnarly waits. Suddenly, the rock ledge starts to crumble under your feet. You begin to slide down the face of the cliff. Frantically, you reach out for any possible handhold. Your hands desperately, wildly reach out for anything to grab a hold of. Finally, your fingers latch on to what is left of the ledge. Turn from 50 to 16. You hang onto the ledge by your fingertips, your feet dangling uselessly beneath you. Then, by chance, your foot catches a small outcropping of rock just wide enough to steady you and give you a chance to catch your breath. It's always a good chance to catch your breath. You look up. Zarkon is above you, standing where the ledge is still firm. He is grinning and twirling a length of rope. He swings one end of it down across your back. He's now whipping you. The rope crawls around your body like a snake and fastens tightly. Not too tight to cut off blood circulation. And before he wraps his rope around you, he says, "My safe word's kangaroo." You're making that up, right? The safe word bit? Yes. The rope winding its way across your back? That's what's written. The rope crawls around your body like a snake and fastens tightly. Then he tosses the other end to Gnarly, who catches it deftly and hooks it around a large rock. Carefully, you pull yourself up hand over hand onto the ledge. Then you toss the end of the rope back to Zarkon and Vagana. You're standing at the edge of the waterfall, looking into the mountain where the falls rush out of a large dark tunnel. The tunnel, the mountain is gushing now with you inside it. Now, Scout. Yeah, Scout. Now, says Zarkon briskly, let's figure out exactly where we are. This shelf of rock obviously goes back into the tunnel. I suggest we see just how far back it goes. Just how deep this tunnel goes, let's test it. Before anyone can object to this suggestion, Zarkon lights up the end of his staff and leads the way into the mountain. Slowly you follow him. Water rushes by noisily, just inches below your feet. Turn to page 25 from 16. Soon you hear another sound over the water. A low whistle. Not a moan or a groan. Then, with the help of the light from Zarkon's staff, you see where the whistle is coming from. Halfway up the wall is a perfectly round hole. About Gnarly's height in diameter, who is a dwarf by the way. So there's a perfectly round hole in the wall about halfway up. Air is being sucked through it. There's a perfectly round hole about halfway up the wall. Air is being sucked through it from the river tunnel. Gnarly, holding Zarkon's staff, stands on your shoulders to examine it.
The shaft goes down at a slight angle.
He reports. Usually goes up at a slight angle.
And it's very smooth inside.
I can smell something.
I smell something burnt like sulphur. It's the smell of dragons.
Where there are dragons, there is treasure, you say. So it's a treasure hole. Or, since people often seek glory in slaying dragons, you could say that this is a... Turning from page 25 to 19. Zarkon interrupts your dreams of treasure. Zarkon interrupts your dreams of treasure to inform you that the shaft is probably a ventilation shaft. Well, maybe it'll lead to the dragon's den itself, you say.
It'll probably lead us right into their claws, mate, he replies. It will be wiser to follow this river ledge to its end.
I think we should try the shaft.
Oh, fuck me, are you still here, Vegana? I forgot, because you haven't offered anything of worth to this entire mission on any... And I can see the future. And I've been down every possible path that we have picked so far. And you haven't been useful once. You've got us killed twice, but you haven't been useful once. Forget that you're here, Kettlestein.
I think we should try the shaft and go straight for the treasure,
Vegana says. To be clear, to be very clear as well, when I gave the maybe let's go along the ledge and go to the opening, the option that we took instead of going up the mountain and falling off into the pond, I gave it Vegana's voice just because it didn't say who said it. So I've actually put that. That was the one time that her suggestion was actually the right one to do, and it wasn't even guaranteed to be her. I just gave her that voice because I just chose one. Poor Kettlestein can't even catch a break in this stream.
I think we should try the shaft and go straight for the treasure,
Vegana says. Alright. If you agree with Vegana and want to take the shaft, thumbs up and go to 83. If you agree with Zarkon and want to follow the ledge, to keep edging yourself along the ledge, thumbs down. Do you want the shaft or the edging? We've got thumbs up for shaft, thumbs up for shaft. Oh, that's balanced it out. We've got shaft, shaft, shaft. We all know that it's going to be Deska's Vegana's suggesting it. Alright, shaft it is. So that was page 19. 19 was a choice. Keep 19 in mind, that is a choice. We are going to agree with Vegana and take the shaft. We turn to page 83. You struggle your way into the hole in the ventilation shaft. Vegana's close behind. You slide down the inside of the shaft. Do you want me to read this slower and with a deeper voice? You slide down the inside of the shaft, pressing your hands against the sides to keep from going too fast. You don't want to go too fast. You've got to pace yourself. Zarkon, Vegana and Ngali follow you. You don't notice it at first, but the tunnel gets gradually steeper as you go along. Yeah, as you slide your hands along the shaft's going to get steeper. You have difficulty keeping yourself from going too fast. Soon you realise you couldn't stop yourself even if you wanted to. From the cries behind you, you know that the others are having the same trouble. Fucking hell. At last the tunnel levels out, but before you can slow yourself down, you wham into a row of bars. A few seconds later, Zarkon, Vegana and Ngali tumble into you. It takes a moment to untangle yourselves. When you do, you look down through the bars. You can hardly believe what you see. Turn from 83 to 57. They're going to ram into you from behind. Yeah. Below you is an immense cavern, while above is a large, fire-blackened shaft, which must go all the way to the surface of the mountain. Yeah, the blackened shafts are often much larger. The dusty column of light that shines down through the shaft strikes the backs of two huge dragons sleeping on top of the enormous mound of treasure. The dragon's deep rumbling snores echo off the rocks. There can be no doubt you have found the dragon's den. Look at that, you say, awed. I didn't know there was that much treasure in the whole world.
If we could only get down there, it would be all ours,
says Vegana.
I'm for climbing back up the shaft,
Ngali says. Zarkon takes you aside.
Excuse me, Vegana's clearly consumed with greed, and Ngali seems terrified by dragons. Your mind is still clear, so you must be the one to decide.
If you want to try and get back up the shaft, turn back to page 80 and put a thumbs up for try and climb back up. And if you want to try and get down into the dragon's den for the horde, if you want to explore that gigantic mound, turn thumbs down, turn to page 73. I mean, to commit, get down on that mound. Alright, so turn to page 73. The dragon's den it is then, says Zarkon.
First, this row of bars was almost knocked loose when we hit it. We're lucky that we didn't go all flying off into the dragon's den already. A few good kicks will knock the grating free. Let's all kick together now. 1, 2, 3, kick!
The grating breaks loose. It arcs downward and bounces off the ugly horned head of one of the dragons. The dragon raises its head slightly and looks around with baleful eyes. And then it snorts a few jets of flame and finally returns back to snoring.
Wait, that gives me an idea, says Zarkon. Everyone be quiet while I concentrate.
Zarkon's eyes begin to glow. A faint beam of light starts to form between his eyes and the tail of one of the dragons. After a while, the dragon's tail begins to glow red. A thin wisp of smoke rises from it. Suddenly, the dragon awakes and leaps up with a roar that shakes the whole cavern, breaking stones loose from the ceiling and almost knocking the four of you down into the cavern. The other dragon raises its head, its eyes still glazed with sleep. And then the first dragon, using its tail, bats the other one in the head with such force that it causes another shower of rocks from the ceiling. The dragon showers the other dragon. Turn from 73 to 87. I thought Zarkon was too exhausted. Must have had a short refractory period. 87.
The dragon with the burnt tail thinks the other one did it,
Whispers Vegana. That was very whisper.
The dragon with the burnt tail thinks the other one did it.
We know, Vegana. Fucking hell. The two dragons leap up snarling and go at each other with horrible roars. It's a sight to behold. Still fighting, the two dragons fly up through the dragon hole at the top of the cavern. The den is plunged into darkness for a few seconds, and then light returns. Zarkon has already lowered his rope down as far as it will go into the dragon's den. Zarkon delivered his rope as deep as he could into the dragon's den.
Quickly, everyone down the rope before the dragons return,
orders Zarkon. Turn from 87 to 85. He said calmly, yeah. She can't even whisper properly. Our boy Zarkon loves that rope. That's fucking perfect! So at the start of this stream, I explained that this book is 40 years old. It was published in America. It was sent to New Zealand or Australia for sale, and then it was somehow made its way to the UK, where it found its way into a second-hand bookstore, where Fancy bought it and sent it all the way back to New Zealand one more time. And because this is a second-hand book, it means that someone has had this book before me, and perhaps they have felt similarly inspired by certain vocabulary usage in this book. Because there's an added drawing to the drawing. There is a nice full-page picture, and there is somebody has added to it, improved upon it, some might say. In pencil. Zarkon's rope almost reaches to the floor of the cavern, but not quite. You have to drop the last 10 feet. But fortunately, a great mound of pearls below breaks your fall. That wouldn't be a good thing to break your fall, by the way. They're not soft. Nearby, diamonds, amethysts, and rubies are piled high. You can't believe your eyes. You've never seen such treasure. Excitedly, you and Vagana start stuffing your pockets with jewels. And there's a nice picture of you dropping from the rope onto the pile of jewellery. And if you're listening to this on my Robert Reed's podcast later, you probably want to go and find the accompanying video on YouTube now. Here's you. Here's you dropping onto the pile of gold, and you're landing down with your knees in the air. Look. You're landing down, all excited to be on this pile of gold, on the mound of. You're landing down on the mound. Now give the old book smell as well. Just get my nose right in there and just... That page smells different to old book smell, strangely. That one's got a different kind of a smell to it. It's familiar. I can't place it. Is it a cleaning chemical maybe, or a... Don't put that in your face, Rob. You can't believe your eyes. You've never seen such treasure. Excitedly, you and Vagana start stuffing your pockets with jewels. She's going to have to change her name from Vergania soon. Ngali and Zarkon, both oblivious to the treasure, are already looking for ways out of the cavern.
I remember being told, says Ngali, that there is a secret dwarf peephole.
Actual word in the book, by the way.
There's a secret dwarf peephole high up on the side of the dragon's den, from where we could spy on what the dragons were doing to each other.
I added that last part.
But I don't think it's large enough for even a dwarf to crawl through. It's only enough for something like a thumb to stick through.
I added that last part.
The main dragon door seems to be over there, says Zarkon, pointing. It probably leads to the nursery where the dragon eggs are hatched, and baby dragons are especially dangerous. Look, says Nali, on the wall up there, a small balcony. I think we could climb up there. It doesn't look that high.
Zarkon looks doubtful.
It could be the Dragon Master's observation post, and if he's there, it could also mean our end. Our choice is between the dragon door and the Dragon Master's balcony. What do you think? He adds, looking at you. Oh shit, put that away, mate. There's a time and a place. Fucking hell.
So, if you decide to go through the dragon door, turn to page 103. If you decide to climb up onto the balcony, turn to page 92. So, thumbs up for climb up, thumbs down for through the dragon door. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down. It's pretty even, but I think it's more towards the down, slightly. Alright, down it is. We are going to go through the dragon door. Turn to page 103. So from 85, 85 was a choice. Somebody write that down. 85 was a choice that led us to 103. 85 was the choice from the mound of gold that led us to 103. Let's go through the door, you say. The four of you push open the heavy dragon door and peer into a dimly lit chamber. It's full of baby dragons dozing on top of one another.
We'll have to go through, says Zarkon, but just be careful.
One by one you pick your way through the chamber, cautiously stepping between tails and over toes. Just as you pass the last dragon, its eyes blink open. Instantly you clamp your hands around its jaws just in time to muffle its shriek. As it squirms, you hang on desperately. In a few minutes the baby dragon tires out. You know that if you let it go it will alert the others. You have no choice. Holding the dragon tightly in your arms, you carry it out of the nursery and into the tunnel where the others are waiting.
You wanted treasure,
Zarkon says with a smile. Well, you've got it and more. Nali and Vagana can hardly contain their amusement. It's easy for you to say. Easy for you to laugh, you say sourly. You don't have to carry a dragon around. Turning, you stride down the tunnel that leads you safely out of the mountain. And you carry a dragon and a pocket full of treasure back towards your home. Alright. Oh, we're in ad breaks for the next 2 minutes, which is perfect timing as we just came to an end, and I'm bursting for a piss. Go and stretch your legs, look away from the computer screen for a while, take a cold shower. I'll see you in a sec. Hey, can I ask a favour? Could you let me know in the comments when you're watching this video? Is it like right after I uploaded it? Or is it like a week later? 2 weeks? A month? A year? Is it like 4 years later? Are you watching this like 20 years after I uploaded it? Am I going to get some notification to the chip inside of my head that a video I uploaded back in the early 20s is now being watched in 2076? Let me know in the comments.